Hey guys, my name is Mike, and for the last year and 3 months, I have been building the most insane Dwarven mega city in Minecraft Hardcore, hopefully, you'll ever see in your entire life. Which sounds cool, but as you can imagine, the prep that goes into these projects is so big that it often leaves little room for doing the thing that I love most, which is building. And trying to balance this around my job and my life with my wife, it means that builds tend to go unfinished. But I recently came across what is probably the greatest seed in the world for any aspiring dwarf. I had also recently came across the term of a forever world, and it seemed like a no-brainer to take this opportunity to start my own adventure. An adventure where I can invite you guys along for the journey to craft a dwarven lore from the ground up. Maybe even one day share the adventure with my future kids, but who knows? Let's get the world made and jump into the video. Alright, so we spawn in the world, and it is a wonderful world, and you'll very quickly see and understand just why we've chosen this seed, because as you can tell, it is a dwarf's wet dream. Forgive me for stating the obvious, but it is, and I can't lie about it. So this is exactly where we are going to build and expand into in the future, but first we need to head up and out into the world. Looking around, it doesn't seem like we've got a particularly easy path out of here, so we're going to go ahead and collect some birch so we can make some quick tools in our world. Starting with a crafting table. And now we're out into the world. We've got a pale oak biome over there. We've got some sort of dark oak, I think, going on over here. We got some spruce. We got some birch as well. We've got all kinds of trees going on. So I'm sure you can very quickly understand exactly why I just fell in love with this seed. We've got everything we need to start building and getting into our forever world. So we're going to go ahead and first go on a hunt for some food and gather a few different types of wood to get our building underway. I almost missed these cows going on over here, so we'll yeah, you may want to look away now. I'm sorry, dude. You know, I love these fallen leaves as well. These are such a good addition to the game. I am so happy that they are starting to work on the ambience, because I'm a sucker for good ambience, believe it or not. I do like to... Oh, I didn't want to break that axe. I really wanted to save that axe. Ah, man. Well, that does give us the means now to go ahead and make our first stone axe. And this one we will keep an eye on and hopefully not break. But a bit more wondering, it looks like our first day is coming to an end. So we're going to go ahead and craft ourselves a little bed here, just because we are on hard mode and I don't want to die and lose all of my stuff whilst we are adventuring. So we will enjoy the sunset together in this moment before the end of day one comes to a close. We'll also very quickly go ahead and smelt some of our food so we can eat and hopefully not die on our journey. But with that all done, we can dig up our tool stations because we're going to need them again. And whilst I was waiting, I also went ahead and installed distant horizons so we can actually go ahead and have an epic view when we head to the top of this mountain range. It'd also be a shame to not grab some pale oak whilst we're passing by. I don't really want to get too deep into this biome because I don't really think we're fit to fight any sort of creaking just yet, but we will in the future be back here to gather stuff up for farms, etc. But for now, let's grab some wood. Oh, and just heading up to this second mountain, just the shaders over the hills there, it just hits different. And with the sun setting on our first official day in our forever world, again, not really achieving much, but we are just on a bit of a scouting mission at the moment, we can head into day number 2. And I will say the one drawback of this world that I'm figuring out very quickly, which are words that I never thought would leave my mouth, is it does seem very mountainous and very up and down. So finding a village seems to be a lot more difficult than I initially anticipated. I thought there might be like a badly generated village in the side of a cliff somewhere, but it seems like we're on a bit of a quest to go and find our nearest village now. So we'll try and find one. I'm sure there'll be one around somewhere. Right, guys? Now, we haven't found a village, but I have found some exposed stone, which does often have some iron on the surface, so we could be able to get iron pretty quickly, which was one of the reasons why I actually wanted the village in the first place. And I've got to say as well, I completely forgot that they added like fallen logs in the world, so that's definitely a cool touch. But let's have a look, see what we've got going on. We've got some coal, we've got some copper. We do need those, so we will mine them, don't worry. I'm just having a very quick scout, just see if we've got any iron going on, which... Really? Is the game really going to do this to me now? Wow. Okay. No iron. All right, let's once again grab our crafting table, make a stone pickaxe, which we don't have any stone, so we'll just grab a quick bit of stone. There's the pickaxe, so we've now got Stone Age, and we'll make another axe just because I actually do want to keep these as part of like a museum piece almost, because you guys have got to remember that this world will be seen by my future kids, so I really do want to kind of showcase to them all of the firsts that we did in this world and kind of just keep a better memento than I did in my hardcore world. I did a pretty good job, but I knew that I could have done better at kind of like keeping things the way that they were. I think we'll also grab the granite as well, because if I decide to go with the block palette that I want to go with my first cozy home, I really want to actually utilize brick. So I will actually just grab some of this because it's a good sort of varying texture to put alongside the brick. So it'll make good sense for our build. Day 2 comes to an end, but we jump into day number 3, where we jump right back to resource gathering and get some nice little clay blocks. I'll also go ahead and gather some more resources such as sand, because we're going to need that for glass for our build as well, so it saves us coming back out again when we head back to do our build. But with even more materials now in our inventory, quickly filling it up, we headed out on day number 4 to try and find a village again. I almost forgot that they added the fireflies into this. Can I dig this up? Do I need silk touch? We can. Oh, that's going to add so much ambiance to our little housing area. I don't really know what we're going to use that for, but I do have an idea as to just how useful that block can be, depending on how it functions. But we're definitely keeping that one in the bank. Yes, we finally found our first iron as well. That's fantastic. So we can now go ahead and get a few bits and bobs crafted up. And getting some iron actually is fantastic, because it means when we head back to the open cave area, we can actually go ahead and make an iron pickaxe and go and grab that diamond. And I'm not one usually for racing through and trying to get as best a gear as possible, but it does give us that option if we do want to go and get diamond for any reason. Now I can't really see because of the fog. Is that a house, or is that the top of a monument? Can't quite tell. We need to get a little bit closer, but is that a sunken... What even is this? I have never seen a structure like this before in Minecraft. Is this new? I swear to God, if people are like, no, Mike, this isn't new. This has been in the game for, like, freaking forever. I'm going to feel like an idiot. But we'll definitely grab these, like... Oh, wait. Ooh. What can we throw away to grab these? Seeds are probably really easy to get, so we'll throw the seeds away, but we are starting to get really full of our inventory, so we will probably head back very... Ooh, a chest. Ooh, buried treasure map. We'll take you. Oh, we are also dying as well. We will leave the wheat as... Actually, we should we get that wheat? I don't really know what we can throw away. We can probably throw the sticks away. And hopefully maybe try and convince a few cows to move home with us. But that marks the start of day number 5 in our world. And whilst I'm kind of just running along, I'd like to just very, very quickly take the opportunity just to address anybody that is concerned about the hardcore series. Please do not worry. I am not abandoning the hardcore series. It is going to continue. It is going to be the primary series on the channel for the longest time. As you guys know, over on the hardcore world, we've got a lot to get done. We've literally probably still got a few years left before any of the projects are going to be fully complete on that world. I just really felt like I wanted a world where I could just express myself a little bit more and at least get some practice in with building. And oh my god, it's the new Worm. Is this the Worm variant pigs? No, is it? I don't know, but it's a different variant of pig. And I'm afraid you're gonna have to go. Just whilst I was cooking them, one of the new chicken variants. Oh, and an armadillo. I haven't actually seen an armadillo in Minecraft yet, unfortunately enough. Just made a quick note of that. But yeah, don't worry about the hardcore series, guys. It's not going anywhere. I just thought I'd address that in this series because I know that many of you are going to be worried about that potential series. But don't worry, it's not going anywhere. I think we found it. I think we found it. I think we found our first village, which is great because this means that we can actually you know, go ahead and get some bits and bobs out of the village. We can just have a look, and we can also write the coordinates down, as I think I probably, given the distance that this is, either build some ports and just get boats backwards and forwards to the village if we need to. he's just like, nope, you're not coming in. Look, I know I'm a strange, short, hairy guy from a distant land, but trust me, I'm not here to do harm. I'm just here to potentially steal your wares. Haha, this one is free though. Oh, we'll take some of you. Yes, we will. Oh, we can't. We're kind of full on our inventory here. I'll tell you what, we'll leave our birch logs. I know some of the birch fans in the comments won't be particularly happy at that, but, you know, yeah, it's not the most useful wood type in the world. Anything in here? Cartography table. Don't really know if that's really worth taking. Sticks? No. But I am very, very excited that at the closing of day 5 on our Forever World, we've finally found a village. So we can actually head back now with the coordinates written down, knowing that if we need to come back for iron, or if we want to come back to get some villagers to make like a villager trading thing in the future, then at least we can come back to these coordinates. So let's go ahead and get to bed and sleep for day number 6. And on the way back to our base, we did run into a couple of the new cow variants, which were pretty cool. I definitely want to get some of these back for the potential farm. I decided I'd give it a try, and I'm probably going to regret this. This is probably not going to be a very long journey in trying to keep these attached to me, but we'll see how far we can get these back to our initial starting point. Friends! We've found more friends! I don't know if I'm going to be able to juggle any more than 2 in all reality, but the more the merrier. So come on. Here, come and get your little wheaty wheats. Yes, come on, my horned brethren. To war. Well, it may have only taken us about 20 minutes to get about 300 blocks, but we're now dedicated to this and we're committed, so we're following through with it. I'm also getting flashbacks to episode 1 of the Dwarven hardcore world. I don't know if some of the OGs will remember. I actually did the exact same thing with, I believe it was sheep. Or was it pigs, I think? I'm sure somebody will leave it in the comments down below, but I definitely did a very similar thing in that series in episode number 1 as well. Spending a bit of time getting animals back definitely seems to be... No, we've lost one. I was going to say it definitely seems to be the one of the fortes of our journey on this channel in episode 1s of new series. And there we are. We finally got the cows back. I definitely think that is worth a like on the video. I think you guys should easily be able to smash 500 likes for the horned cows. So let's see if you guys can do it for these horny little... Wait. Anyway, let's see if we can just get these into a hole so that they don't run off. So let's just get you in here. And it's only temporary. We are going to make them a pen and kind of get a settlement on the go. But we just have to keep them somewhere and just... Hopefully we don't forget where they are, and we'll actually just go ahead and we'll just breed them, and let's see what the baby one looks like. Oh, that's adorable. I can't wait to murder it for its meat. Yeah, sometimes I don't really think about the words that are coming out of my mouth until after I've said them. My apologies. But with the cows secure, we're now moving our attention to this little island here because this is where we're going to build our starter house, and I have such a cool idea. But first, we're going to need a fair bit of spruce, so we're just going to chop down these trees and get a little bit of a spruce farm going on. Jump down into this little batch of water and hopefully not take any damage. Landed it. As the first port of call is I want to go ahead and build a structural support for the corner here, as I'm not quite sure just how big this house is going to be that I'm going to build. But I want to make sure that if I do build it bigger than this actual island, that it has some sort of structural sound support. So we're going to go ahead and start by building a cobblestone outline just around here like this, and don't worry, we'll come back and get that coal in just a second. Add in a upside down stair just to kind of add a fancy little top border. Then just sort of building up and occasionally stripping some of the logs just to add a little bit of variance into the texture. I don't like to overdo it. Ow. Oh well, I suppose I can do down the bottom whilst I'm here. Oh yeah. Oh no, that's looking good. I'm liking that. That looks so cool. I added in these like notches like on the way up to kind of make it look a little bit as if it's like being, you know, constructed rather than just being one tall plain plank. And that actually looks really cool. I'm really loving that as a support, so that's already got me excited to get to work. So let's jump over to the island as we need to get rid of all of these birch trees. And with day 13 starting, we've got some stone and we've got rid of all of the birch trees. We're making some furnaces, as I want to go ahead and burn the birch logs into actual charcoal, just so we've got way more resources to make campfires and to burn stone with, as you're about to find out just why we need so much in a second. We will also go and smelt this clay so we can just get out of our inventory, and don't worry, all of these will be moved in a hot second. But before we move it, we do need to head down and grab a few stacks of cobble. And a quick smelt of the iron. So then we can head back down and start mining out more of this area. And I must say, I am already like super stoked for this series. I am so excited to now get to work and build everything on here, because as I mentioned earlier, the focus of this series is to keep things small and simple and quaint, and not overly complicate it with mega builds and, you know, try and overthink it. It's just going to be building a theme and just building small buildings that I want to build, and over time it will equate to a world which will be full of cool little buildings, and it'll be a way for me to just generally improve my building skill, as I do feel like on my hardcore mega world I don't really get the opportunity that much to really express and try the little things in Minecraft, because it's not a case of trying to overdo things and over cater to the audience. It's more just the fact of digging out such a large area and prepping such a large scale design takes a lot of time, and for somebody that is employed and in a job, it's not exactly the easiest thing when you have to come home from work and try and grind out 30 hours of mining and prep before actually getting around to the build, which, you know, leads to a lot of projects being unfinished. But at least now we get to have a series that we can cut back to when we ever feel like a break, and be able to just get little projects done and just have a little bit of fun again. Quickly grabbing the bricks and re-putting some stone in to smelt in the furnaces. Again, it is something that we are going to move pretty quickly, but I'm struggling for inventory space at the moment, so we're just going to go ahead and empty everything into this chest just so we can actually work without being, inundated and having to micromanage all of our inventory. But we'll jump into gathering some spruce logs, and I must admit it has been a couple of days since I've actually played this world, but honestly I have never felt like such a drive to jump onto a world. I have actually had my imagination just spark up so much with this project. It has been actually unreal, because I'll hold my hands up and admit, like, I absolutely love the hardcore world, don't get me wrong, but there is just so much work that needs to go into the hardcore world in order to actually like clear areas and to actually plan and prep builds and things that in my brain it kind of squishes down the creativity. But because of the open cavern in this world, it's really honestly opened up my imagination to just thinking about what can I build, instead of thinking about, right, where do I need to clear out, or how many days is it going to take me to clear out an area before I can like start building this one building. Instead, I'm just purely thinking, right, I want to build this, and I'm going to put it here, and I want to build that, and I'm going to put it there. I also absolutely love Lord of the Rings, and I definitely 100% take huge inspiration from it in my hardcore world. But in this world, along with the freedom to just build what we want, where we want, we've also got the freedom to start naming things and building our own custom lore, which is why I'm even more excited in this world. And I don't know why, but there's something that I really love about the Dwemer from the Elder Scrolls series. So I don't know if anybody can recommend a sort of city name or a sort of lore name that we can go with for the race of dwarfs in this world that kind of plays around the Dwemer. I'd love to hear your guys' suggestions in the comments. And although I don't really have much of a plan to build with birch, we do actually need to clear some of this up so we can build a farm. I have gone ahead and dug up some trees, so we've got some room now to start the farm. And I also actually went ahead and dug up a bunch of spruce because we need it, but also to just clear off the snowy hilltop areas. I really want this idea of showcasing a bit of scale to the world by having all of the snow on the top of these hills kind of barren and visible, so that even when we're down in our sort of dwarven cave, where even if we get the chance to like look up, we can kind of see these like snowy hilltops, and it's really just going to add a whole sense of scale to our entire world, and it's just going to look really cool. Now, admittedly, I have got a bit carried away, but what I'm trying to achieve right now is basically covering up all of the dirt using a mix of cobble and stone, just to try and get rid of some of the dirt and make it look more of a sort of a rocky outcrop kind of thing. But we are going to continue by placing down a layer of dirt on the top, and in certain areas we're also going to keep the dirt sort of like hanging over the edge to make it seem like the grass is kind of like growing over the stone. And then in certain areas we'll kind of have like these like stony, like rocky areas, and then we will also have a border that kind of goes around this whole island thing, to be a bit of like a defensive wall. And after putting together the platform that the bridge is going to attach to and connect to this land over here, I've realized that this mine entrance is a little bit too close. So what I'm thinking we may need to do, which is going to add a little bit of time, but we need to really do it, is build this side up a little bit with some dirt, bring this up to the same level, and move this over by a few blocks, because this is going to be covered by a separate build to the main house. And looking at this here, we don't quite have enough space. Ideally, we really want to be building the house up to kind of this edge here, so this needs to move over. We're all out of dirt. Oh, that's absolutely no worries, because we've still got plenty of terraforming to do before we can actually build our farm up on this other section. And that should be shovel number 2 down. Moving on to shovel number 3. I also need to cover up this cave here, but I've also found andesite, so I'm going to mine as much of this as I can, because andesite is a good texture variant to use when building with stone. There's actually a lot more andesite in there than I realized, but I've had a pretty ingenious idea. Just need to come back and grab a few spruce blocks, and then we'll also go ahead and make a few planks so we can make some stairs for decoration. And we will also make a couple of other spruce bits like fences. And although it will run out eventually, we're going to go ahead and make an andesite mine. So let's just get this thrown together real quickly. Well, it was a bit of a side quest, but finally the andesite mine is now open for business, so we can move back over to our island. So we can carry on building up the backside of this island. And there we are, we've managed to move the mine over and build this ledge up. And this is going to allow us now to go ahead and build our houses and the things that we need up here, and then our little dwarven mining hut down here where we are excavating. And I also added in a little bit of an Easter egg if I head down to the side round here, and I added in this little like makeshift mine here. It's nothing special, but it's just a little Easter egg to kind of showcase that the dwarves are proactively trying to like excavate parts of this rock and just add a little bit of life to the place and just make it seem like the dwarves are really trying to find gems and stone and different things that they need in order to start expanding their settlement. And I'm sure this isn't a rare thing, but one of the most annoying parts of my personality, especially playing this game, is the issue with getting sidetracked. This is not the job that I actually wanted to be doing right now, but I came down into the mine to grab some stone and kind of looked at the wall and thought I really just wanted to kind of get some of the stone brick down so we can start making some of the foundation. But it's really not the most important job that I should be doing right now, and this is the problem with my hardcore world as well. But anyway, let's get back to the job at hand and go and grab some stone because we need it for building our house. And as we wake up on day 33, the sun is rising and we have indeed gathered some materials, and I've also gone ahead and laid out a rough idea of what this house and base is going to look like, and it will make sense, don't worry. But basically we have the main house area. This is where we're going to have all of the storage and we're going to have the bedroom, and I've decided that I'm not going to make it too tall, but instead I'm going to make it more shorter so it's a bit more stubborn and kind of fits that dwarven style. And then I'm also going to sink the base into multiple layers underground so that it kind of seems a bit more dwarven, so the dwarves have kind of naturally built underground where it feels a little bit more like home for them. I've also mapped out here where there's going to be a sort of mini watchtower, sort of guard tower area. This is going to give the dwarves the ability to see the sort of surrounding area from a height and just make sure that there's no oncoming enemies. And then over here we've built a foundry, and this is going to be where we're going to have our starter smelting system where the dwarves will smelt all of their ores and stone and things so that they are able to build. And of course it's only going to be a simple one for the settlement for the dwarves, but it's just a smaller version of a mega smelter. But of course it's not going to be epic just yet in episode number 1. We've of course got a lot to do, and we've obviously going to scale this up as we go along in this series. But for now, this works as the perfect little starter home and start a settlement for the dwarves. So we're starting the house off by building the foundry, where I'm not trying to do anything too complex, just do a very simple oval shape where we can build a smelter system inside and then have a funnel venting off all of the excess gases that are produced when doing metal work. And that's the foundry almost complete, and I say almost because I kind of ran out of iron on the hoppers, so we've still got a little bit to sort out there. But I actually added in a few extra furnaces and some storage for some backstock of coal. Just need to go ahead and switch this around real quickly. That was a bit of an oversight on my behalf. Just go ahead and there we go. And then also a bit more in the top, just in case we need it, not for any particular reason. And then I used some stone walls just to kind of hide all of the internal workings, just so you can kind of see the furnaces, and then you can access the chest through either one of these ways at the bottom to get your stuff out and access that. I could actually even dig these trapdoors up. I just kind of liked the way that it looked. And then I also used some trapdoors up at the top just to hide when you walk in, just so you can't see all the inside of the building. And then you can just access the top of the chest, empty anything that you want to smelt into there. It'll go down into the furnaces, and then you can leave it to just do its thing. Oh, and I did actually almost forget. I actually wanted to jump up to the top here and just have a play around with the firefly bushes that we got, but I need to kind of figure out how I'm going to do this, because basically what I want to do is add in some firefly bushes so that when the fireflies come out, it looks like it's kind of ash burning from the smeltery, like coming up. You know, when you've got like a flame in one of those clay pots and you can kind of see the embers flying out of the top. I want to try and recreate that using these firefly bushes, but I need to try and figure out how I'm going to do this, because if I dig the sides out there and place some dirt down for these firefly bushes to go onto, then obviously the bushes are going to be visible from the side. So we may need to just go ahead and add another layer of spruce trapdoors, which is not my idea of what I wanted to do, but it may just be the thing that we need. However, after waiting for it to turn nightfall to see if the sparks will come out, I've actually realized that I think they only work when you expose them to darkness, because if we actually just head over here and place one of our spare ones down, in theory, this should start sprouting fireflies, but this one, yeah. See, this one is, but that one isn't, which tells me that we might have a bit of an issue on our hands if we want to keep the smoke particle. I may need to think about another way of trying to achieve the smoke. Well, moving on to building the house now. I actually don't have a full plan in mind. I kind of just have a very rough idea about what I want to achieve here, so we're just going to kind of go with the flow and see what we can actually come up with. I know that I do want to add some windows of some kind, which I have a little bit of an idea for, but we'll get the basic frame in first. Basic frame is in, remembering that we're not trying to make this house too tall. I really want it to feel short and stubby, a bit like the dwarves. It's definitely a feature that I like to include in a lot of my builds, is to try and not make them too tall and imposing unless we're doing like a grand scale project like an entranceway, because I feel like although dwarves do like big, I feel like, you know, the height kind of restricts them. But we're going to go ahead very quickly and make an iron pickaxe, as we're going to take a bit of a risk, because I really need some deepslate, and rather than mining all the way down through the stone, I'm going to jump down into this deepslate layer, which I haven't explored yet, and see if we can just quickly grab some deepslate without triggering any skulk or anything, because we can see that there's a little bit down there. So I'm hoping we can do a quick MLG jump and land in the water. Oh, perfect. Then head down, and we can also grab some diamonds whilst heading down here, because there is some in the immediate vicinity. I don't want to venture too far because we literally have 0 armor on, so any hits we can't really afford to take. So we're going to have to be very, very careful here. We're going to have to we'll just grab this diamond, because he doesn't seem too interested. Oh, now they seem more interested. But we can just let the sunlight burn them. Keep kiting them around. This was a huge vein of diamonds. I wasn't even coming down here for diamonds. Oh no. Oh, didn't really want to take a hit there. Oh boy. Oh god, now the skeleton's spawning. Yep, we're out of here. Hopefully I've got enough deep slate, but I actually have no idea. But we'll leave the deep slate for now, as it's a bit dangerous and we are running low on food. But I've continued with the house by going around adding in the stairs 1 block away from the corners on each side. So we've now got a cool little structure thing which we can do something with once we've got the roof on. And so we'll move on to the roof, and jumping into the roof, I thought I'd go ahead and very quickly explain my thinking on the design here, because normally people will do a traditional triangle roof, but if you think about dwarves and building underground, they wouldn't really have much in terms of things to think about falling on their house. Maybe the odd stalactite or water droplet from condensation, but they don't really have weather underground. They don't really have rain or snow or things that are going to weigh down on the roof and have a need for the triangleness for things to slide off. So I decided to go against the grain a little bit and try something new by attempting a mono-pitched roof, which is basically just a fancy way of saying it's a slight angled flat plane. I have also just had a realization that I know exactly what's wrong with this roof, and it's the fact that I was supposed to carry the border on the outside instead of using normal brick. So this is actually supposed to be the deep slate tile block, which is why I was a bit hunky-dory about it. Yeah, that's more like finish off these little support pillars on the outside with some chiseled block. I'm gonna be real, I don't even remember where I left off. I literally recorded the last clip and then got sidetracked by starting to design the floor and the interior and work on the downstairs. But we've now carved out a bunch of dirt downstairs, and we'll leave this behind because I actually want to get the watchtower on the side of the building done, as we did get this started, but I want to carry this on and get this finished. Yeah, that's looking pretty good. I used the same kind of roofing texture as the house, just so from a bird's eye view, which admittedly we won't see very often until we get, like, you know, 20 episodes in and we finally get an elytra. But right now, from this ground, it just adds like a little bit of a change. From the ground, it just adds a contrast between all of the grey, because I did say that I was going to try and introduce colour into this series, so I've kind of matched the roof and the kind of like copper windows that we've got going on. But so far, it's looking so good, but we've still got a long way to go, as we need to build a bridge across from here, as well as also build the area down to our little mining hut. Now, just quickly working on improving this area into the mine shaft, as I want to kind of carry on this wood down to here and then kind of phase it off into stone to just make this area a little bit more rustic. I want to make it feel like there's rubble and mess everywhere, because we've got to remember that this is a settlement. Nothing's, you know, organized, nothing's really neat or anything. It's just piles of stone, as the dwarves are still settling in to their new area. So we're just gonna throw down some cobblestone and get to work on building a little miner's hut right here. Well, that's the mining hut pretty much done. There's a few more details we need to add, but we'll get to that later, as we are running out of time, and we've also run out of stone as well. But I want to move on to the bridge, and I'm probably about to ruin this build with what I'm about to attempt, but I really want to attempt a diagonal bridge that connects this to this landmass over here, where we're going to have some like farming area and stuff. I did think about adding it over here where we've kind of been bridging across already, but I really just wanted to have this build as like a standalone thing. And in terms of, you know, like actually traversing over and then across, I thought, let's just make it easier and just have it so we can run straight out of our door and straight across to where our farming area is going to be. So I've gone ahead and got some end planks to try and see if we can make a diagonal bridge. And I have never really attempted this before, so how this turns out, I have no idea, but we will find out. Wandering Trader spawned, but he doesn't really have anything that we really want to be buying right now. But there is something I do want to do, because yeah, I need those leads, buddy. And that's the bridge finished. I do think I need to add some fence posts underneath, just to add like an additional level of support so it's not so thin. But I do kind of like it. It's got a bit of a contrast. I'm not really sure about the stone pillars. I was thinking maybe some slabs or some kind of something else to decorate the top would have looked good, but it looks good for now. Get rid of this temporary bridge that we built at the very start of the game and move over to our now permanent bridge. And I've finally got some oak trap doors, so we can go ahead and finish off adding a barrier to the outside of this wooden platform. I think we'll just go ahead and put you down like that, and I was going to add trapdoors and hang lanterns from it, but until we get lanterns, I think we're just going to have to deal with torches for now. Same with these are supposed to have lanterns on. I'm now expanding the wheat farm by trying not to make it a deliberate farm, and let me explain, because I feel like the dwarves wouldn't really harvest wheat. And I feel like the best option for the lore is that the wheat is kind of just naturally growing on the landscape, and they're harvesting just what's available, and once it runs out, it runs out. So in order to kind of achieve that look, I'm kind of doing this kind of spotted approach, and it also will help just kind of add a little bit of life back to this plane. I was planning originally to turn this into a proper walled off, bricked off farm, but I feel like in the long run dwarves would be more likely to harvest mushrooms, and I feel like I'm going to set up a specific mushroom growing area, and I already have in mind what I can do to kind of make it feel like it's part of the build. Well, first death of the series. Good job it's not flipping hardcore. I can't believe that I've died on episode 1 of a series. That is so embarrassing. I am not that bad, I promise. I am usually much better than this, I promise. But I have now used up all my iron to get the last hopper on this left-hand side finished. So we now have a fully automatic system where we can just load everything into here, and then it will automatically go into this furnace, outputting all of the stuff in there, which allows me to step away and carry on working on the rest of the build. Not unless I get distracted like I have been, because I feel like I need to also get the sugarcane down in some areas of this wheat farms, and putting down the sugarcane will also help just hide these water spots. And I will have to hide these a little bit better as well in the future, but for now this will do. So as we head down into the basement, we can go ahead and finally get all of the wall finished for the downstairs of our build, which is going to become our storage room for our little house. I was really holding off doing it, but I'm going to go ahead and make our first ever diamond pickaxe in this episode. I really didn't want to be using the diamonds just yet, but I need a pickaxe and I'm starting to run out of time, and I really can't be bothered to keep breaking stone, as we've broken probably about 50 stone pickaxes at this point, and this is just going to allow us to finish up the last few bits of the underground area. These chests are not organized in any capacity, and we've ran out of wood, so we can't make any more chests, but we are gonna leave this here because there's one more job that I want to do before I finish up, and that is to get the fireflies fixed, because I am determined to get this working, as I've realized if we just put the fires down underneath a block, we'll still get the actual effects through the blocks, and then we can actually go like this, place down the firefly plants, then go like that. Now the only remaining issue is we have now obviously got a exposed fire area, but that's easily rectifiable by grabbing some spruce real quickly, place down the trapdoors. Yay, it works! We've got the fireflies flying around, so it looks like embers burning and coming off out of the chimney. Oh, that looks mint. Oh, I'm so glad that I did that. The only problem is we have had to use way more spruce around the top of the chimney than I actually wanted to, which, you know, there's probably ways we can fix this, but for now, it'll do. And as the sun rises on day 56, that is the end of the episode, guys. We have managed to get our perfect little house started and the start of our Dwarven expansion into this epic cavern. We have an epic series on our hands here, and I am so excited to get to work in expanding all of our operations down into this cavern. This is what I dreamed for our hardcore world, which unfortunately we have to mine out this entire cavern by hand and in our own way on the hardcore world, whereas here we have the unlimited capability to just utilize our creativity to do whatever we want, as well as create any rule and law that we want within our story. So guys, don't forget to leave your suggestions down below. I love the idea of going with the Dwemer from the Elder Scrolls series, but we don't have to. The world is our oyster. But I've been the Mike James, aka it's me, Mickey T, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye!